KILR Killer Game.
Hello there, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and we are back here with our coast-to-coast tour with SubLogic Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64. Okay, so we're at Albuquerque, and whereabouts are we going? Well, let's go ahead and let's pull up the map here so that way you folks can see this stuff. I'm beginning to think that the whole time I went through the HelloFresh website, it never showed up on the screen. But hey, maybe we'll get it right on the next one. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what you're seeing... Ow, yes, hi. What you're seeing here is the SubLogic collection of maps that I spent time lining up and putting together so that way I could figure out what my route is going to be from the west to the east. These yellow areas are scenery discs that were not created for the Commodore 64, or in some cases not at all. So scenery disc 8 is this section over here by Arkansas, Mississippi. It was never actually made. Scenery disc number 10 is Montana, North South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, all that up here, that was never made either. Now, up here, where New York, Maine, Vermont, that is scenery disc number 12. That did not come out for the Commodore 64, but it did come out for the Commodore Amiga as well as the PC. So, in the case of the PC, you have almost the entire United States, with the exception of two different areas. Now, SubLogic eventually did come out with another scenery package called USA East and USA West, which you could use with Flight Simulator 4. It also worked with SubLogic ATP, which I do have that, but I haven't done any videos on it. So, you can see here, that's not the right picture. That was the wrong picture. This is Flight Simulator 98. As you can see, this is a totally different simulator. I had taken this picture because I was posting something on my YouTube channel because I'm working on a Flight Simulator 98 flight, and I've been having some issues with Flight Simulator 98 crashing. So, see, I do other flight simulators, not just this one. So I started off here in Los Angeles, and just I kind of came up with my own flight path here. So we went through Blythe, Buckeye, we landed in Phoenix. I tried my hand at some ADF navigation. That didn't really go all that well. And that wasn't a pilot error, that was a technical error with Flight Simulator 2. The ADF just was not working the way it should. What the heck did I just do? Oh, well, see, I'm clicking stuff and I shouldn't be. Then we went up to Gallup, and that's where this stream started off. It started off in Gallup, and we flew here to Albuquerque. So where are we going after this? Well, we're going to keep going. We may, depending upon fuel, we might land in Tucumcari, or we might land over here in Amarillo, Texas. Somewhere around here, probably around Amarillo, we're going to have to switch from scenery disc number 2 to scenery disc number 1. But yeah, we'll be going to Amarillo. We'll be continuing to Oklahoma City. This won't all be tonight. It's a long flight. There's Tulsa, Springfield, Missouri, going all the way up here to St. Louis. You may be looking at that thinking, whoa, what's going on here? There's 2 different types of maps. What's this? Well, this is where the West and the East start to show. So this format of maps here was all the Western U.S. scenery discs. And then when they started coming out with the East stuff, then it started to look like, you know, the maps that you kind of grew up with, with the old flight simulators, where things kind of look a little bit more professional. So yeah, it took me a little bit to try to get this lined up the best that I could. But yeah, we'll be going to St. Louis. We'll be coming up into Illinois a little bit, and going to Champaign, Urbana. We won't go to Chicago because it's too far out of the way. But we'll be making a stop in Indianapolis, Cincinnati. We'll be coming across here all the way to Washington National, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, Philadelphia, up here to John F. Kennedy. So this map here is the default New York map for Flight Simulator 2. So I tried to line this up the best that I could with the other scenery stuff. But coming right across Long Island there, and landing in the final destination is Martha's Vineyard. So there you go. That is the actual flight path for this series that I am working on. So quite a bit of stuff. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. My kitty is wanting all these pets, so I'm trying to give him as much attention as I can here. So let's do some planning. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the actual map for the Albuquerque section here. Let's see. There it is right there. So we're right here in Albuquerque. We're right here where this number 7 is at, right there. And we're going to be continuing along the I-40. So we'll tune into each of these VORs to help us along the way. So 114.0 for auto, that's 114.0, 110.0 for, what is that? Antu Chico or Antok Chico. We've got Tucumcari here. That's looks like 115.6. I can verify that just by scrolling up here and looking at the airport information there. And then after that, we'll be going off the edge of this scenery disc and going into scenery disc number 1. So when it comes to changing scenery discs, you will get to see how that actually works. Alright, so 114.0, that is going to be the VOR that we are going to tune into right now. Once I get the map off the screen there. Yeah, we don't want to fly around with that map blocking everyone's view. That just would not be fun at all. Okay, so 114.0, let's go ahead and start making that change here on nav number 1. Alright, that's nav number 2. I don't want that. what was it? 114. Man, I have such short-term memory here. 114.0. And there we go. It's 33 miles to the first VOR. I'm going to go ahead and change OBS there, not to be confused with the recording software. It's interesting. They call it an OBS here in the old simulator, and later on they call it an OBI. So, all right. So 076 is the heading that we want to take to get to that first VOR. The second VOR, Antu Chico, is 110.0. So I'm going to do a Control N2. That will allow me to start changing nav2. You see how I'm making that slight change there? So 110.0. So now I got to do Control NN so I can do the smaller digits. And there we go. Now it's too far away. That's why the OBS number 2 says off. So once we see this thing, light up with a 2 or whatever, then we know that it's in range and we can switch our nav 1 and nav 2. There's not a button to switch it like there is in Flight Simulator 4. I don't think it's in 3. I think it's in 4. So we just have to manually change it. All right, so let's go ahead and start the engine. There we are. And we will get ourselves turned around so we can take off from the runway that we landed on. At least I think. Yeah, it's right there, right behind us. There it is. I'll just keep going here. We'll wait until we get to the end of the runway and we'll turn around. Whoops, that was not the right button to hit. Sometimes the graphics can really kind of throw you off, like that little green off there on the right. Just limitation of the graphics of the time. We are working our way to the end of the runway here. Which should be coming up here pretty soon. Yeah, we're getting to the end there. And I don't think we need the entire runway, so... Now, I mentioned this towards the beginning, so that way I don't spin out of control and wind up in the grass there. I'm going to keep my rudder all the way to the left And just give it a little bit of power until I start moving. And then bring the power down to 0. So that way I can just turn the plane right around. And then sort of kind of get us lined up. Okay, so that should do it right there. All right. Everyone ready to go? You got your seatbelts on? Let's go ahead and get going. I just remembered there was something that I wanted to do here. All right. There we go. We are airborne. We can look at out the rear there. And see the airport. This is not disappearing, but you know, fading off into the distance. All right, so we have a direction we need to be going, 076. Oh, you know what? I need to adjust this here. We're pretty much already going the route, the direction we need to go. Look at that. Take off from this runway and yeah, we're pretty much heading in the right direction. That works out kind of nicely. So that is the city of Albuquerque out there. It looks just like that. That's Albuquerque International Airport there. And the blue line, that was a river. Let me just pull up Google Maps here. And let's take a look and see what the name of that river is. Let's see. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Aha! Oh, the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande. That's that blue line. Okay, so if we zoom out here, right there, that's the Rio Grande. How about that? Okay, so now the question is, how high do we want to fly? Well, let's go ahead and we'll go back and take a look at the SubLogic map here. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring our throttle down. I'm also going to bring down the mixture as well, so we're not burning up all of our fuel here. It's kind of funny because the mixture was not something that I really played a lot with back when this was out in the 80s. Alright, there we go. I want to be able to go up in altitude, but I don't want to go up quickly. You gotta love, I just make just one small little minor thing, and then the needle for the vertical, what is it, the VSI, is that what it's called? It goes like way up and way down. It's like I didn't hit it that hard. Yeah, you got to be very gentle with these controls, otherwise you lose control. Okay, so here's that map again. So our first nav point is Auto, and then we got, was it Antu Chico. There is an airport here labeled 22, and that is Santa Rosa. That's where the big hole is, or the big hole, the blue hole. That's Santa Rosa, New Mexico. So let's look it up. Let's look up Santa Rosa and let's see what the altitude there is. Then we can figure out our cruising altitude. All right, so Santa Rosa, here it is. 4,782. All right, so roughly 5,000. I'm thinking somewhere between, probably 7,500 is probably fine. And then, let's see, Tucumcari is 4,000, yeah. So let's not get too high in altitude like we are right now. We're going to want to keep it around 7,500 because, yeah, once again, there's really no benefit of flying 5,000, 6,000, whatever thousand feet above the ground, because it just makes it that much more harder to determine how high or how low you are. At least for me. So I like to kind of keep it 2,000 to 3,000 feet above ground level. But the thing is you've got to pull up the airport information and the VORs to find out how high are they, so you can determine what your cruising altitude is going to be. And you may have noticed, but nav number 2 has become active now. So I'm going to go ahead and well, look at that. Look at that. So you can see that we're at a heading of 077, and we're in line with both of those VORs. Look at that. We've got ourselves a really good flight path here.
Excellent.
Oh, we got a new follower. Let's take a look. I lost count. Ah! Oh, I went back too far. I went all the way back to the 2020s. Iowa Scotsman is following the channel. Yay! Let's get some more shout-outs here. The Dead Zombie, Speedy. I think I'm missing some names here because here, let me pop this out here. That might actually help. Let's see, Low Tech followed. This Dead Zombie, Speedy, Start. Was it Slant Alpha Adventures? He hosted and rated the channel. We got Arrow Flyer, Peter, Aqua Toast, Smiley Beaches, Rick V10, Eltmon, Too Old, Sim Caesar, Cold Nebo, Bent, Bent MG, he actually followed the channel a couple of days ago, actually. So, yeah, shout out to all those individuals who have followed the Killer Gamer here on Twitch. And don't forget to go over to YouTube, because there is a bunch of stuff. I've got a bunch of stuff over there on YouTube as far as flight simulators. Pretty much got almost all of them, all the major ones covered. There's still some other ones that I haven't done, like Flight Unlimited 1, 2, and 3. SubLogic ATP. There's also another one called Airline Simulator 1 and 2, which are the spiritual successors to SubLogic ATP. So yeah, there are some that I have not done, and then there are combat simulators. I haven't done any of those either. There's only so much I can do. Only so much I could do. And you remember I told you about that code for HelloFresh, right? It's in the chat there. You can use my link, or you can go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGHF1734 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes plus 3 surprise gifts. What are the gifts? What kind of surprises are in store? I don't know. I do know that we're still climbing in altitude, and I want to get it down lower. We're currently at 8,600. We don't want to be that high. And I definitely do not want to be going as slow as we're currently going. Alright, so let's drop the pitch. Gonna use the trim. Now, at this point, some people may panic, where they're looking, oh, no, 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 I'm going down too fast, no. Don't panic. Give the simulator a chance. It will level out there. That's why I fly this with the keyboard and not with the joystick, because this old simulator is really, really sensitive. If you just do it too much, it's just going to go way out of control, so you don't want that. You've got to be gentle. You got to be really gentle with this simulator, because it is not forgiving. All I did was press one button, and that was for my elevator trim. But look how much of a difference it makes here. And like, it brings it up way up here, and then it starts to bring it back down again. See, and I grew up with this simulator. So imagine how much easier things got as the later versions of Flight Simulator came out. And then I started using a controller rather than the keyboard. And things were definitely a lot easier. That's not too bad of a cruise. Close to 120. Wouldn't mind getting a little bit more speed out of that. Let's bring our pitch down a little bit more. And I'll increase the throttle some. Pitch and power, that's what they say, right? See, I barely made an adjustment, and look how much of a change it makes here. So you gotta, don't try to chase the needle. Whatever you do, don't just make minor corrections. Let the simulator adjust itself. Do not try to follow the needle. You're gonna hate life if you do. You're not gonna have a good experience if you try to chase after the needle. It's like, oh no, I'm going down too low. Let me get up. It's gonna go back and forth. It's not gonna go well. Somewhere around 7,000, I think that would be good. That should be the I-40, but that could be the I-25. Nope, I think that's the I-25. For some reason, they don't have the I-40 going east out of Albuquerque. Yeah, there should be something right there, but there's not. It's on the map, but they don't have it here, apparently. Alright, we're still going down in altitude, not quite what I want to do here. Trying to find that right balance there. We're still going down, just slightly. Okay, so we're 6 miles away from our first VOR. Let's go ahead and move nav 2 to nav 1. One 0.0. Alright, was it Antu Chico? 50 miles away. Tucumcari will be the one after that. We should be able to see the Santa Rosa Airport along the way, possibly. We should be able to see it off of the right window. Tucumcari, that looks like 115.6, but Let me just double check. Did I say 113.6? Yeah. Alright, so we're going to tune nav2 to 113.6. There we go. Now we just sit back and enjoy the flight. So this sponsor that I've got, HelloFresh, apparently this is going to be for the next couple of weeks or so. I don't know, I'm a little excited because I've never been offered a sponsorship with anyone. So, and it's just a short term, it's just temporary. But I'm like, oh, wow, this is cool. Some of my long-term viewers out there is like, oh, man, he just sold out. He sold out. No, I didn't sell out. Hey, at least I don't have my own coffee company. I've noticed there are channels where they're promoting their own coffee brands. It's kind of funny. Now, we don't have any KILR coffee or anything. I don't know. Would you really want to have something called KILR coffee? Probably not. You want KILR coffee, all you need to do is go into the military and drink their coffee. You'll get yourself some KILR coffee, that's for sure. Hey, I think we might have gotten ourselves leveled off here. Take a look, our altimeter's not moving. It's staying pretty steady right there at 7,250. Right around there. I'm happy with that. I can live with that. Oh, nope. We just went down just a little bit. Just a little bit. See, now this is where it gets challenging. How long can you keep your attention while flying with this simulator when there's really nothing out there to really look at other than green grass and blue sky and occasional white and blue line here and there? Oh, and some gray patches. Yes, you have to have an imagination, that is for sure. Okay, so I had shown you a picture from Flight Simulator 98 because I was having some issues with it crashing and stuff. Let me show you another picture that I took. So what I'm working on is a flight in Australia. It was a request from a viewer over on YouTube who wants to see a flight from Adelaide, Australia to Sydney. And this right here is the city of Adelaide, and that is the airport. YPAD. Instead of an iPad, it's a YPAD. And this is coming with scenery called, it's Australia. There's a scenery package called Australia. There's a 1 and a 2. And then there's a special edition version that combines the 2 packs. And that's what you're looking at there. And that scenery collection actually, it has flight adventures on there that are ATC. It uses their flight shop conversions, but it has actual Australian ATC chatter mixed in with them, so it's kind of cool. But some of those adventures, they just crash. They just crash Flight Simulator 98. And I know I got quite a bit installed on my Flight Simulator 98 installs, so it's real touchy. If you just sneeze at your screen the wrong way, Flight Simulator 98 will crash and give up on you. You know, and ironically, even though I've got a payware Australia set, the 2 airports, Adelaide and also Sydney, I found custom content, user created content, and it looks better than the payware content. So I don't even know if I want to use that payware content. The custom content looks so much better. Now remember, if you've got if you've got reality mode on, it's going to cause your gyro compass to drift, and you're going to have to adjust your altimeter every now and then. So make sure you're doing a Control D and a Control B, all right, for your altimeter and your gyro compass here, so that way you're getting correct readings. That is an old habit that I've developed since this simulator, and I do it in later simulators because it's just easy to to just use the keyboard shortcut or click it or whatever. But there are some that I try to take a little bit more seriously and try to actually adjust it the way it's supposed to be. We're cruising just under 120 knots. Not bad. I'm using a makeshift ruler here. Let's see if I can determine how far away and to Chico is from Tucumcari. Looks like it's roughly 75 miles. And then it's probably another 100 miles from Tucumcari to Amarillo. Wow. Man, just going from West Coast to East Coast, that's going to be a challenge. That is going to be one heck of a challenge. Especially when you're flying a Piper. That's what this is. It's a PA-128, I believe. It's not a Cessna. I should probably check my phone to see if there's any messages on it, right? That might be a good idea. Yeah, no. Looks like everything's good. I had gotten new glasses, and they kind of pinch behind my ears a little bit. Oh my goodness! There's a white line. Did the I-40 finally show up? Oh no! Oh, there it is! I don't know where it was before, but it's there now. It's about time. See how exciting that is? We finally got something else to look at. Except for, green and blue. We now have a white line there we can look at. The I-40. If you stay awake for over 24 hours while driving the I-40, which I don't recommend, but if you were to do that, the I-40 starts to look like a white line. It's just one long white line. So don't do that. Hi, Spice. He is laying upside down. He's right next to me in this chair. He's lying upside down and he's looking at me. I need to clean my glasses a little bit. I've got really long eyelashes, just naturally, and so it winds up putting a smudge on my glasses. And so when I'm trying to look at the screen, there's like this smudge in my left eye. So I am gonna go take care of that. I will be right back. Well, now I can't even read here. Alrighty, I am back here. Just need something to clean my lenses here so that way I can see a little better. Oh yeah, that is much better. I don't have the smudge blocking my view now. There's enough smudges here in the scenery here for the Commodore 64. A what? Yeah? What is that scratch on my arm? Meow. Yeah. Come here, Spice. Let's talk about our sponsor. You gonna come here? No? He's like, no, I don't want to talk about your sponsor. Are you coming down? Hey, you want to talk about it? Come here. Come here. Oh! Alright, here we go. Yeah, so our sponsor for the stream is HelloFresh. Yeah. HelloFresh, you can, if you love doing home cooking and stuff, with HelloFresh you can pick out the meals that you want from their website. There's like 50 some recipes you can choose a week, and they rotate, and you can choose like 2 or 3 or 6 meals a week if you want, and each of these meals come pre-packaged. All the ingredients are fresh, and they are pre-portioned. Everything you need is right there. You don't have to go out to the store and buy 3 cups of this and a gallon of that and 62 ounces of this and have all this extra all this extra stuff, and you're like, well, what else am I going to make with it? Yeah, I don't have to worry about that. Everything is all pre-portioned and everything. And hey, HelloFresh believes in their product so much that they want you to be able to try it out and see what you think. And if you use my link, or you go to the HelloFresh.com and use code POGHF1734 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes plus 3 surprise gifts. What are the gifts? They're surprises. That is what they are. You never know. You might get a kitty cat as a pet. Don't be thinking bad things. Come on, I love cats. I like dogs too. This cat here is like doing all kinds of shedding and stuff. You're just all kinds of happy, aren't you? Yeah. Wow, so we're 8 miles away from Chico. What is that? Am I even saying it right? I don't know. Let me take a look and let me get out and look and see. Get out and look. Anton Chico. That is what it's called. Anton. I had to look it up on the directory so that way I could read it. I mean, here. Why don't you get out and look, all right? Get out and look so you can see what I'm seeing, okay? So, right here, Anton Chico, all right? That's the VOR that we're going to right now. Now, whoa, what the heck happened there? It's going all over the place. All right, so just scroll down here. Now, you can see here on the map, it's kind of hard to read that because you got this VOR circle going right through the N, and so it kind of looks like an O. It looks like Antu Chico. No, it's Anton Chico. That is the name of the VOR right there. And just a little bit ways past that, probably, what, about 25 miles or so, is Santa Rosa, the Santa Rosa airport. And there looks like there's a little, I wonder if this is the blue hole right here. This little mark here. It should be way up here, so this might be something different. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out and look at Google Maps and see what that says. Let's see. Santa Rosa, New Mexico, not California. Ah, okay. Yeah, so that is Lake Sumner. Let me pull that back up here so that way you can see it. Okay, so this little thing right here in between numbers 22 and 21, those are airports. That is Lake Sumner right there. So we might be able to see that as we get closer to Santa Rosa. .2 miles from Anton Chico. Hey, Spice. He's over here sitting down next to me. Or laying down, I should say. Now he's standing on me. Are you walking that way? Walk this way. Talk this way. Walk this way. talk this way. That doesn't mean put your butt in my face. Now what are you getting into? Huh? What you doing? I don't know. Alright, so we've passed Anton Chico. We now have a FR from on our OBS indicator here. Hi. Meow. Hi. So using a, oh, there it is. Nav2 just activated. You can see we got a 2 there. Let's go ahead and change Nav2 to Nav1. And I think it's going to be around 75 miles to Tucumcari. So let's take a look here. I'm trying to fly there, boy. Oh, close. 68.4 miles. And it looks like we need to be at a heading of 072. So I'm going to go ahead and move ourselves a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so there is the Lake Sumner out there. The Santa Rosa Airport was somewhere around here. It's funny, OBS Studio is saying that frames are being dropped, but considering that the the frames per second on this is not very high to begin with, I'm not sure if you're really missing anything, actually. Go ahead and switch my fuel tank from left to right there. So we're about 25 miles away from Tucumcari. Ah, there, see? Remember when we looked at the map? That is the lake some there, right there. This is the I-40. Oh, can't zoom out too far. Yeah, so Tucumcari is going to be up here, and then just a little bit further is going to be Amarillo. But we have got to switch scenery discs before we get there. Gotta say, I'm glad I'm recording a backup copy. I don't know how choppy the stream is right now. It's saying it's dropping 2.2% is what it's dropping frames. Like, why is it dropping frames at all? I mean, this is a old game. Yeah, it looks like we had some more people head over to KILR Television, which is my YouTube channel. It went up in subscribers. That's good. We are wanting to continue to build our community. Tell you what, driving a truck, it is really hard to do live streams. Either because I don't have the either I don't have the data to be able to do a live stream, or I'm in an area that's not fast enough, or I don't have the right amount of time to be able to do it. It's tough, and I enjoy doing live streams. But my hope is that with this HelloFresh sponsorship, I'm hoping that it will open up doors for some other ones too. Gotta start somewhere, right? Wow. So I recorded the first half of the stream, right? It's about 2 hours, 2 minutes. It's only 783 megabytes, and that is at 1080p. That's crazy! That is crazy. Ha! There's Tucumcari. That is the Tucumcari airport right up ahead. Now, we're not going to land there. We're going to land in Amarillo. Should have enough fuel to get us there. But we're looking at probably another 100 miles. Hey, where's that little mountain? There's a little mountain for Tucumcari. It's got a T on it, and it's like sitting right around here or something. And I don't think the I-40 goes through the airport at Tucumcari. Just saying, I don't think it actually goes through the airport. So we're 10 miles away from the Vor. It's going to be tough trying to figure this out. Because the Amarillo scenery, it's like right on the edge of the other scenery disc, and you got to load up the other scenery disc, so this is going to be a little tricky. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're just going to continue flying until we reach the end of the white line. And then we'll load up scenery disc number 1, which covers Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, so before scenery disc number 1 will be the last scenery disc in the West that will be in. And then after that, we'll be going to scenery disc number 9. And that's where scenery starts to get upgraded a little bit. You'll actually have airports that have taxiways. Because these Western ones, they don't. They just have the runways and that's it. As we slowly fly over the Tucumcari Airport, remember, if you want to ponder about taking a trip to Tucumcari, if whether you want to do it or not, you can ponder that over some freshly cooked food from HelloFresh that you can cook yourself. And it's all pre-portioned and very convenient. Recipes that rotate on a weekly basis, up to 50. All kinds to choose from. And there is a special. So if you use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGHF1734 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and plus 3 surprise gifts. So you can click the link that's there in the chat. That takes you right to their website. Has everything populated in there, so you get that smokin' deal from HelloFresh. And speaking of smoking deals, you don't have to worry about like smoking your kitchen up, because the recipes are easy and convenient to put together. It's less likely that you will burn your kitchen up trying to do something that you haven't done before. So yeah, if you like home cooking, want to get into it and have a little bit of fun with it, you can certainly do that with the HelloFresh. And so we are continuing here with our flying. We should be flying right over the Tucumcari VOR here momentarily. And about another 100 miles. We should get to Amarillo. So hey, let's do something a little fun here. Let's pull up Google Maps and let's see how far Tucumcari, New Mexico is from Amarillo. I'm pretty sure it's around 100 miles. 115 miles if you're driving on the I-40. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here on the distance measuring equipment. So we'll keep an eye on this and this white line. So this white line, when it ends, that's probably going to be the edge of the scenery disc, and we'll have to switch over to the next one. But yeah, 115 miles. So since we're kind of flying in a straight line, probably maybe just over 100 miles, I'm guessing, because we're not having to go this way and go that way. It's just a nice straight shot. So it'll be interesting to see if the mileage is about the same in Flight Simulator 2 here. And since we're going to Amarillo, let's see, the altitude there is not listed. That's not helpful. That is not helpful. That figures. Right. Well, what else is in that area? It's like a guessing game now. Well, let's see. Borger and Pampa? Borger, Hutchinson, and Pampa Airport. Let me see what those altitudes are. Borga is about 3,054. Pampa is 3,244. So I'm going to say Amarillo is probably around 3,500 in altitude. We're currently at under 7,000, so if I was a hazard to guess, I'd say we're maybe 3,000 feet above ground level. A little bit over than that. Ah. You know, or I could just Google the altitude. Amarillo is 3,668. Now, is it that way in the simulator? Who knows? It would be interesting to find out, since it was not on the list on the map. It's just the altitude doesn't show for some odd reason. So 3,600. So we're about 3,000 feet. So we probably should start heading... Oh, we should probably start our descent maybe around 50 or 60 miles or something. Maybe 60 miles. Listen to that engine sound after a while, and it'll make your head go. Oh, I guess we're long past the airport. I thought we would still see it at 10 miles. I guess not. That's back there somewhere. So the Amarillo VOR is 117.2. So I'm going to put that in nav 2, but I doubt we'll be able to pick it up because it's on the other scenery disc. Sometimes they have it though, because they know you're going to be switching from one VOR to another. Or one scenery disc to another. But there's a good chance that we won't be able to pick up a signal until we change scenery discs. And when we change scenery discs, we have to still be in range. You know, you see where this gets challenging, going from one scenery disc to another, and where you come through on one end may not line up correctly on the other. So in case you're wondering, I am using an emulator. It's called Vice. It might also stand for VIC emulator. I think the VICE stands for something. I'm not sure. But it's a Commodore emulator, with the exception of the Amiga. But it emulates like the VIC-20 and Commodore 64. I think the 128. And some of the other Commodore, what do they call PETs? PET, I think. Commodore PET machines or something like that. I don't have any need for emulating all that stuff. I'm curious if anyone actually tries to emulate those other computers for whatever reason. Like, why would you? Why would you need to emulate one of those old Commodore business machines, you know, where there is no graphics? It was just basic. Like, what, do you have a spreadsheet or something, you know? What would be the reason for emulating one of those? I don't know. I guess maybe you want to write a program for it or something. I know it's preserving history, which I think that's good. But in practical everyday use, I'm just curious. I'm curious why someone would want to emulate, you know, a Commodore business machine that is, you know, monochrome and just text-based. And that would be an interesting conversation to have with someone. I noticed our fuel is actually lasting a lot longer now that I've started making use of the mixture control. We're not burning through as much fuel this time. I'm keeping an eye on my my Wi-Fi box here. This is my 5G hotspot. I got 37% power left on it. You can see the end of the I-40, at least on this scenery disc. Do you see it out here? There's like a little bit of a green space in between the two white lines here. Yeah, that's the end of it there. Currently 26 miles away from Tucumcari, New Mexico. How far from Amarillo are we? That's where we're going to land. Probably about 74 miles. Oh, we're hitting the edge of something. Okay, that shifted us over a little bit. That's interesting. So I think... let's take a snapshot here. Let's just make sure that we're not losing anything. That way I can just load it right back up if I need to. Alright, let's go to the map view here. Ah. So there we go. You can see where we're at here. You see that? So you can see that, you know, we're not just flying any old where. We actually are in the Texas area. So you can actually fly without some of the scenery in some of these areas, but you're not going to really have a place to land and stuff. Okay, so what we need to go ahead and do then is we need to load up the other scenery disk. So first what I want to do is put nav1 to 117.20. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and load up scenery disk number 3. So I'm going to go ahead and... or scenery disk number 1, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and attach that. And that's not what was supposed to happen. It was not supposed to do that. This is why I took a snapshot beforehand, so I can load that snapshot right back up. Because, yeah, you know, things can happen. Alright, so the disk, I believe, is in there. What we're going to do is do a Control E. There we go. Current database, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. This is why an emulator is nice, because you have those, the ability to take a snapshot in case something goes wrong, and it certainly did. Okay, so scenery disk number 3 is loaded up, but we're still outside of the scenery range. So we just kind of keep on this path, and hopefully the scenery from the next area will kick in. See, now this is where it gets exciting, because right now we can't pick up any VORs at all. We are just we're like we're in a twilight zone in between two different scenery disks, which apparently are not lining up next to each other. So imagine, if you will, if you had, let's say, FSX or Prepared, and you had the mega scenery, the photorealistic scenery, or if you were doing ortho photos with X-plane, for example. Let's say you got ortho photos for one area that you're flying in and an area that you're flying to, but you didn't realize that you were missing some photo tiles, some ortho photo tiles in between those two areas. That's where we're at right now. We're in between those two areas. And it's really hard to see if we're actually going anywhere at all, because it looks like it's stationary, right? Just keep an eye on the clock itself. Keep an eye on the clock. It's still moving, so nothing's frozen. See, the excitement comes in when we actually cross that border from one scenery disc to another. Like right now we're in the no man's land. I forgot this actually happened when I was flying Flight Simulator back in the 80s. It does. Sometimes they just don't line up right next to each other. I know some work went into getting these airports and stuff for the scenery discs, but it sure seems like they really rushed out scenery disc 1 through 6. Like, I didn't even think that they were released separately. I thought they were only released together as part of the Western scenery, Western USA scenery, or whatever it was called. And there's no fuel boxes or anything. I don't think there's any type of extra scenery at all. I think it's just runways for airports, some blue lines of different thickness for rivers and lakes, and white lines for major roadways, interstates, stuff like that. But no actual, like, if you were to fly to Vegas, for example, you're not going to see any buildings for the Strip. You know, actual, like, points of interest or anything like that. Whereas when they started doing the eastern scenery, they started actually putting a little bit more work into it. This kind of sucks because we can't pull up any VORs at all. Out in no man's land, out in the Twilight Zone, we can't pick up any navigational information at all. So we have no idea how far away from Tucumcari we are at the moment, and we have no idea how far away from Amarillo we are at the moment. We're somewhere in between, but we're not within the borders of scenery disc number 2 or scenery disc number 1. We're right in between somewhere. But hey, we got this line as a guide. Just follow the line. We should get there eventually. And remember, according to Google, the elevation is 3,668. Now we'll have to see if that's like that in Flight Simulator 2 or not. I sure hope Amarillo is out there somewhere. I'm going to save another snapshot just to be on the safe side. So here is a map from scenery disc number 1. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Amarillo is right up here. So you can see the edge of the scenery disc is, you know, just to the left or west of Plainview and Lubbock, Texas. Now here's Amarillo, and there's really nothing out here connecting it at all. So where are we going to be flying into? I mean, we might be flying lined up here to Amarillo. We could be off up here somewhere. You know, it's hard to say. I did that, in case you're wondering. I'm going to try loading the scenery disk again. See, this has got the database, right? Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. Yeah, so, you know, we've got the right database. Nope. No difference. Wow, I have no idea how long it's going to take us. I think we just keep going. If you look up here towards the top, that's Dallas-Fort Worth right there. And this would be Oklahoma City right here. So Amarillo is going to be somewhere around here. So if we just keep going, we should eventually cross over into that territory. So yeah, you can sort of kind of, you know, fly across the United States. You won't have any airports or anything to land at, but you do have some really... Uh-oh! I think we're there. Because I didn't do that. Okay, well, there is nothing on the map there. But you can see that we now have our VOR is now tuning in there. So, and we're 34 miles away. So great, let's go ahead and change our OBS there. We need to take a heading of 052. And that is Amarillo, that little brown patch out there. So we're going to start a descent here. Whoops. I hit the flaps instead of the rudder key. It's like the N key is like flaps extend, and then right next to it, the M is the rudder to the right. So we didn't change our course or anything, but you can see how we should have been somewhat lined up towards Amarillo, and now I've had to readjust the course so the scenery and the discs were not lining up correctly, and there was actually dead space in between them where there wasn't any like local coverage, and so all that we had was just the basic USA coverage is what you saw there, with just some lines to kind of guide you from one one point to another. Which they use that in case you wanted to fly from one area to another, but you didn't have the scenery discs in between. It would still allow you to be able to do that. And you would just have to refill up in the air, and you just do that by going to the menu and coming back out again, and it fills the tanks. Not entirely realistic, you know, but it's a solution. See this white line up here, right here, that goes to Oklahoma City. This white line right here, if you can see my mouse pointer moving around, that goes to Lubbock, Texas. So this out here is the I-40 going out to Oklahoma City. There should be another white line coming out over here. That would connect to Amarillo. But it's not. It hasn't been put here in this scenery, so... Maybe back in 1982 or 84 they didn't have an interstate there. I don't know. Maybe they were still working on it. But for the purposes of this simulator, yeah, it's not there. And so we should have, since we were following that over in the New Mexico state, we should have been a little bit more lined up over in this area when we finally came into the Texas scenery, and we weren't. So remember, the altitude is supposed to be somewhere around 3,600. I did a Control B to see if the altimeter needed to be adjusted. It seems to be okay. So if the altitude is correct, we're probably a little less than 3,000 feet above ground. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the treasure map. I guess that's kind of like how I like to think of it, as a treasure map, because it looks like it's all kind of like hand drawn out and stuff. Here's Amarillo, right here. There's the interstate that goes down to Lubbock. You can see that over here to the left or the west side, there's no I-40 sitting there, and there should be. And here's I-40 going out to Oklahoma City. So Amarillo Airport is on the east side of Amarillo, and that is true. That is where it's at. So this little block here representing Amarillo, it's going to be past that. And there are, the way we're coming in, we might actually be able to connect up with one of these runways there. Actually, if we're, let's see, if this is north and this is south, what would this be? Course of 190? 190, so maybe if we, instead of heading to Amarillo, we could get on the vector of, what, 010? And that might help line us up with this runway right there. That's a possibility. We'll go ahead and try that. Let's change. Let's change nav 2, because that's on Amarillo also. And we'll go and change that to 010. Okay. That works out. So if we just keep on this course, I think we should intersect that 010 radial. But the airport should be right on the other side of this right here. This is Amarillo, so it should be right past it, right over there. So we're about 2,000 feet above ground. We hope. I don't think we're going to line up at the runway that we want. I think that is going to be somewhere around here. So let's change our course here. Now you might be thinking, what exactly are you doing there, KILR Gamer? Well, get out and look. Number one. Number two, take a look at where this airport is at. See the number one there? See this little two little lines there? That's the airport. Look where it's sitting. You've got the I-40, plus you've got this road here. It's not an interstate. I forget. It's a state route, and I forget what it is. I've actually driven it in my truck. But it does come up like this. And the airport does actually sit right in that area on an actual map. So, right where this fork is at, these two intersections, the airport's right there. So, with that in mind, there you go. There it is. You can see it. All right. So, let's see here. We're going to want to turn off a little bit off in the direction here. Get ourselves turned this direction. We'll go ahead and drop a thing of flaps here. I'm going to switch my fuel over. So this right here is the runway that we're going to be landing on. It's really hard to determine the angle that that's at, but we're going to do the best that we can here just by using the tools that we've got. There we go. Okay, I was zoomed out too far. Okay, so remember I told you the airport is somewhere around here. Okay. We'll try coming in at an angle. Okay, let's turn a little bit here. We'll drop another thing of flaps, kind of slow us down a little bit more. That was a little too much there. So you got to kind of come in here at an angle until you can actually see, you know, be able to make heads or tails out of that actual runway so you can line up, because it's like you can see it's there at an angle, but you know, it's like, how do you know when you're able to turn? When's the right time to turn to line up? It's kind of hard to tell with the way the pixels are and everything. And I think, yeah, see, we're looking at the map. It's coming up. Alright. We'll do our last thing of flaps here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our turn. This is where I start using the rudder, because I'm just making slight little changes here so I can get lined up. If I try to use the ailerons, I'm gonna bank, and it's gonna be out of control. You'll go too far one way or the other. It gets to be a real pain. So remember what I said. Google said it was 3,668 or something like that. We are at 4,400 feet right now. So I'm just letting us just kind of coast our way down. Because like I said, it's hard to tell how high are we? How low are we? I don't really know. It's hard to really tell from where we're sitting. it seems like we're kind of low, so I'm going to increase our throttle here. Kind of slow our... Yeah, it looks like we're about ready to land here. There we go. There we go. So yeah, not 3,600. More like around 4,800. So the altitude here is not very accurate. And since the altitude wasn't listed on the as part of the scenery map and its little directory list, we had to kind of improvise. So we just looked up the altitude on Google, 3,600, and figured, well, it may be that, it may not be that. But then just kind of look at the scenery as we're going down, and as we were going down, that runway was beginning to look more flat and flatter. So I figured, yeah, we probably want to increase our throttle a little bit, maybe just kind of like hover our way over that runway. Before dropping the rest of the way down. I'm getting ourselves to the other runway, and we'll park it there. That's something that I used to do back in the 80s when I was playing this. I would... well, that's a thin runway, too. The one coming up. Since there were no taxiways or any place to park, I would, like, if there was, like, 2 runways that crossed each other, I would, like, park at the corner. That's kind of my thing. I don't think I was going 80 knots. I'm looking at the speed indicator. I forgot what it was called. It was like saying I was going 80 knots. I'm like, I don't think so. Wow, that is one thin runway. Look at that. It's like right up here. And seriously, that runway is like super thin. There it is, right there. Or I'll turn this over to the side here. It seems really thin. Didn't seem so bad when we were... Yeah, there it is right there. Alright, well, it seems thin, but... I mean, you look at it here, that's a thin runway. But when we're actually on it, it doesn't look like that. It's like the Commodore 64 tries so hard. It tries so hard to do the 3D rendering in 3D space. Alright, well, let's shut it down there. So there we go. We are here in Amarillo, Texas. So welcome to Texas, and welcome to Scenery Disc number 1. For SubLogic Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64. So I enjoyed the flights. So far, we still have a long ways to go, which will be in future live streams, and hopefully to do those while I'm out on the road. It's really hard. I mean, this particular live stream was over 4 hours. That's something that's kind of hard to do out there on the road. But I will try to do the best that I can, because I miss doing live streams, and I miss interacting with you folks. But yeah, the journey will continue.